currently sitting in the Sydney Rex Lounge, having just spoken to the Deputy Chairman, John Sharp. He went through his plans for the Rex Fly program, as well as their current expansion of the Rex Airlines group in the domestic market. Hi, John. Thank you for joining me today. It is great to see Rex Airlines not only expanding their network in Australia, but also introducing the long-awaited Rex Flyer, frequent flyer scheme. Definitely for our Point Hacks readers, it is something that has been long-awaited and it's been asked many, many times. So it's good to see it up and running. So my first question is, what is your overall goal or objective for the Rex Flyer program? So do you see it just as a reward tool for your passengers to get bums on Rex Airlines seats, or do you see it as a revenue driver for the airline group in its own right?
Well, in the end, it'll be a revenue driver for the Rex Group because it helps fill a hole that we had in our offering compared to, say, Qantas or Virgin. We didn't offer frequent flyer points, and they did. And people would always ask me, one of many things that I'd be asked by people is when you're going to have a frequent flyer program, because it's the one thing that you don't have that the others do have. We've got lounges, we've got all the check-in arrangements over the web, and all the things that everybody else has got, but the one thing we didn't have was a frequent flyer program. So it's designed to fill that gap to make us competitive with the other operators in our industry, but it's also designed to generate revenue because through the frequent flyer program, we intend to make that a more attractive option for people to buy our tickets with, and it also will, over time, generate its own revenues and its own profits as an enterprise in its own right.
Definitely, everyone was asking me, when is Rex going to launch their frequent flyer program? And I said, you'll be the first people to know once we find out. Alluding to that fact that you're looking at the Rex Flyer program becoming a revenue driver in its own right. At the moment, it's very much a traditional program, isn't it? It's at its infancy, so you earn Rex points for flying on Rex Airlines. Excuse me, you can redeem points to fly on Rex Airlines. So it would be right to say that in the future, or near future, hopefully, you'll be looking at expanding the partnership. So firstly, let's say with other airlines, for example, like Delta Airlines.
Yeah, certainly. We've formed a relationship with Delta Airlines. We're working on improving and increasing the level of relationship with Delta Airlines. We're also looking at other airlines that fly internationally into Australia. So we're hoping to add to our offering not just our regional and domestic network, but also our partners in international operations, so that the Rex Point will ultimately one day get you a seat on an international airline flight. But we're going to do it in stages. We're one of those companies that likes to walk before we run, and our launch of the frequent flyer program offers what would be described as a basic frequent flyer program. You can't come and buy a fridge with our frequent flyer points at this stage, but maybe one day you will, if you want to buy fridges. Yeah. But at the moment, we're just basically offering airline travel with rewarding when you use your rewards gained at Rex. So it will develop in stages, and with each stage, we'll add more and more offerings into the frequent flyer program, be it international partners or be it other products that you'll be able to purchase. It could be insurance products, it could be finance products, it could be retail items like a fridge, but that will happen down the track in different stages.
Sure. And so that's on the redemption side. Now, I was going to ask this question later, but I just have to ask it after that answer with airline partners. One question we always get asked, especially about Virgin Australia, for example, is will they join Star Alliance or a global alliance? Obviously, you're at your infancy. It's probably not something that's going to happen tomorrow, but is that something that's on the table for Rex down the track? Would you at least consider that? Like, especially maybe a Sky team with Delta Airlines, or Star Alliance as well, like the former Ansett had?
Yeah, well, look, it's a possibility. I wouldn't say it's on our radar screen at the moment because, again, if you use the philosophy, let's walk before we run, I would put, joining in one of the big teams, like a Sky team or whatever, I would call that when you get to the running stage of your existence in this particular space. But at the moment, we're just starting off with the basic program, building the partnerships, and we'll add stages which will increase the rewards that you can obtain via the Rex frequent flyer points.
Sure. No, that's true. You want to match that demand as well, don't you, with supply. In terms of the earning capabilities and for Rex Fly members, outside of airline partnerships, so the non-airline partnerships, especially things like credit cards or anything where Rex Fly members can earn a point every single day from their everyday transactions. Are you looking at that? Are you looking at credit card partners, even I guess then hotel, car rental and things like that as well, maybe even grocery, IGA?
Yeah, certainly that's all part of the long-term plan, and it'll be done as time goes by. The first objective for us is to establish the system and make it work and sign up people to be members of it. That's our first stage. And then of course, the next stage is to allow people to actually redeem those flights with their points, and that's happening now as I speak. And so that's the next stage. And then as we grow and we learn how it works and our passengers learn how our system works, we will just keep adding more and more things, whether it be via a credit card, you can earn points. They're the natural things for us to evolve into because we have relationships with banks. We have relationships with insurance companies. We have relationships with a range of service providers who would make natural partners for us to align with our frequent flyer program. And so that those products will start to come into the program in stages over the next couple of years, and it'll be an exciting way to see what's happening in Rex because every so often we'll add something extra into the offering.
No, that sounds good. I think that's definitely what our readers and listeners want to hear. So that's great. And what do you see as a competitive strength of the Rex Flyer program, even at the moment?
Well, actually, it's a very simple, uncomplicated program. It's very easy to use. I mean, some of the frequent flyer programs are quite complicated to start with, and it takes a fair bit of getting used to them to get them to work to your advantage. But the great thing about the Rex frequent flyer program is accessing the flights. So many airlines have a limited number of seats on flights that can be used by frequent flyers. In Rex, if there's a seat available on the plane and you've got the points and you want to use them, you get the seat. So there's no limitation to a specific number of seats on each flight. If you've got the points, you want to turn them into a flight and there's a seat available on that flight, you get the seat. Very different to the others who I mean, on my own experience, trying to redeem frequent flyer points with other airlines is that every time you want to go and take a flight, there's no frequent flyer seats available and your points have no value because you can't use them. When Rex, you'll be able to use them because the seat, if it's there and there's a seat available, you'll get to cash in your points.
Yeah, I can't go anywhere nowadays, a barbecue or anywhere, without someone asking me a question about frequent flyer programs. Everyone's always got a question because there's like millions of members that are part of a program, and that's always one of the things that gets brought up with me. It's like, I've got these points, I can earn them easily, but I can never use them. So I think that is a very good feature of the Rex Fly program.
I think it's an excellent feature because, the frequent flyer points are like a cryptocurrency. They have a value. And the value only is usable if you've got somewhere that you can actually buy something with it. And so many of the frequent flyer points you have with other airlines, the points end up having no value because every time you try to use it, there's nothing you can buy with the points because they say, well, there's no more seats available for frequent flyers. And in some airlines at the moment, there are no frequent flyer seats available for the whole of the next month. It's completely booked out. And so your points don't have a value, but at Rex, your points will have a value, a real value, and easily obtained value.
Yeah, that's right. Your points don't have a value until you actually redeem them. Sitting in your frequent flyer account, they're there, but you don't actually cash them in until you can redeem for something. Just with the tech side of it, is there a Rex Flyer app coming out, or even a Rex app, for example? And do you know if they'll be combined, if one is coming out?
Yeah, I think we've got one coming out, and I'm just referring to Mohan over here, who's the expert, but it's not far away.
It's not far away.
Yeah, not far away. So and there'll be links to all the products that Rex has to offer.
Sure. What's the current status of the Rex Business Flyer program? So I know that it's still currently running live, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it's still running live, but you're not accepting any new members. So is that something that's going to be folded into the Rex Flyer program? Or?
Ultimately, it'll be folded into the program, but the Rex Business Flyer has been a real stable mate of the program over the many years, where people who are frequent users join it. And it was actually a very good system, because I think if you had 18 flights, the next 2 were free, and those were treated as flexible flights. So in other words, you could, if you made your booking and wanted to change it, you could change it without penalty. And of course, they were for any seat on the plane. There was no limit. So it was actually quite a well-received program, but ultimately that'll all fold into the frequent flyer program.
Excellent, excellent. So I might just move to the Rex, my Rex Airlines questions now. So just for our readers and listeners who might not be familiar with Rex or haven't flown Rex previously and are looking to do that, where do you see Rex sitting in that spectrum of between an ultra low cost carrier on one end and a full service airline on the other? Because I feel that you've obviously got a big corporate base in the rural, regional areas, and you've got a full service offering from what I can see, but I do see other media outlets frequently call you a budget, low-cost airline. So it'd be good to get your view on where you see Rex sitting.
Well, we're a full-service airline. We offer, free luggage check-in, we're free carry-on. You get a snack, drinks on the flight, all part of the ticket price. We have lounges in nearly all of the capital cities. Where we don't have one in Brisbane, we're about to build one there. We're building new lounges in Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide. And so we have a lounge offering, and now we also have a frequent flyer program. And we have Wi-Fi on board most, not yet all, of our 737 aircraft. So when you compare that with the so-called major airlines like Qantas and Virgin, we have exactly what they offer, and we even operate exactly the same planes. The difference between us and Qantas, which claims to be the full service airline for Australia, is actually we're a whole lot better than them. And that's reflected in the fact for the last 2 years we've won the Airline of the Year award in Australia, best airline in Australia for 2 years, beats Qantas, beats Virgin, and just only a couple of weeks ago we won the best cabin crew award for Pacific and Australia Pacific. And that's a reflection of the fact we actually have the best cabin crew. We get so many compliments from that. And we also happen to be, unlike the so-called top-line full-service airline, Qantas, we have a very, very low cancellation rate, and we have much better on-time performance. I mean, Qantas Mainline's on-time performance is worse than Jetstar's. It's budget operator. Virgin's is much lower again. So Rex actually offers you all the things that a full-service airline offers. Plus we operate on time, much better than the others. We don't cancel. I mean, in the months of August and September of this year, Sydney-Melbourne route, Rex did not cancel a single flight. Not a single flight in 2 months of operations in August and September this year. Qantas cancelled hundreds of flights. So we're much more reliable. We are the reliable airline as well as a full service airline. We operate exactly the same aircraft, the 737-800NG. And I would suggest that our cabin crew gives you a much better experience on board.
Yeah, definitely on-time performance.
And our prices are a lot lower.
Of course, yes. But based on your answer, I was going to ask this at the end, but I might move it up to the top in terms of the lounges. Yes, you've currently got lounges in Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide, and they're being upgraded. But I'm just wondering, what is the status of the upgrades? And are there other future lounges as well? Gold Coast, Perth, Hobart maybe, because you've already gone to Hobart, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gold Coast is one that we don't have immediate plans to upgrade or to build a lounge. In Brisbane Airport, we don't have a lounge, but we've already got the site. Yep. And it's actually, not a lot needs to be done. Of course, it was all previously used as an airline lounge, so people, when they walk in, will remember it as something else as airlines lounge. In Sydney, we have the site. It's a very large site. We're very well positioned at Sydney Airport in T2 that we will start working on fairly soon. And we'd like to keep our existing lounge site as well, so we can, because we often find ourselves very crowded in the lounge in Sydney. And in Melbourne, we've also got the site lined up. And in Adelaide, the site is also organised. So the sites are ready. Mm-hmm. We just need to start the work, and that'll happen next year. And when you go on a Rex flight in Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane, you'll have a very good lounge. I personally would like to see us have a lounge in the Gold Coast. And when I was up there last time, we had a look around to see if we could find a space. Mm-hmm. because I think there's a demand for it.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. You know, aside from the points offerings, our readers are usually frequent flyers as well, and the lounge is the next question that comes out of their mouth if it's not the first. So it's good to see, Rex focused on that as well. So just in terms of your aircraft at the moment, you've currently got 9 with a 10th coming on board. So that's good, because I know one of your stated goals is that you're wanting to connect all the major capital cities in time. But like you said, you don't want to run before you can walk. So how many more aircraft can we expect, like in the near future, let's say to the end of next year? You're looking at getting a few more planes to fill in those gaps, and would they be looking at going into new routes initially, or to actually enhance existing routes for frequencies?
Well, the next 737 jet is about to arrive any day now, and it's all painted up. It's had a C checks done, and it's just a matter of transiting the aircraft to Australia. Transporting the aircraft to Australia, I should say. And so that'll be here in the next few days, and that'll go into service in December. And so that's the 10th jet. We're already looking at additional jets, 737 jets, to add to the fleet, which will obviously happen in the first half of next year. It takes several months from the time you identify the aircraft and you negotiate the commercial arrangements surrounding it. It takes several months for it to go in and have its full C check, and then to be painted with a new livery and then delivered to us. So that'll happen in the first half of next year. There'll be some more. I can't tell you exactly how many more, but I'm hopeful there'll be at least another 2 in the first half of next year. But another thing that we're doing, which is interesting, is we acquired a business which was previously called Cobham, the regional services arm of Cobham, and they operate a fleet of E190s, Embraer 190s, which is a 100-seater aircraft, and the Dash 8-400 series, which is an 80-seat aircraft. And we have large periods of the day when those aircraft are not operating under the contracts that they have with fly-in, fly-out operations and so on. And so we're now starting to bring those aircraft into our fleet, and hence last week we had the very first application of that, flying from Brisbane to Cairns in what we now call National Jet NJE aircraft. So we're going to start bringing those aircraft into the fleet. They'll still be painted as NJE aircraft, operated by Rex on some of these routes that will add more destinations. But I think one of our primary objectives at the moment is to lift the frequencies we have on the existing network. So, for example, only recently we started Sydney to Adelaide. It's going extremely well. We only have 1 frequency a day. We should be putting another one onto that as soon as possible. We just launched Brisbane the other day. It's going, the growth in the Brisbane service since we opened is amazing. And so we'll certainly be putting a second frequency into Brisbane to Adelaide. We've already got second frequencies, Melbourne to Adelaide. We'll probably add another one to that. And Sydney to Melbourne, whilst we have quite a good offering in terms of a schedule, there's big gaps that we can fill, and we'll probably do more frequencies on Sydney to Melbourne. And that's our thinking at the moment. Really the only big capital city that we're not connected to now is Perth, and that's a new sort of equation.
Yes.
You could argue, if you're a parochial Territorian, that we're not connected to Darwin as well, but that'll come in time. But our the next big objective is to get to Perth, and I could see us using the NJE aircraft to assist us in doing that.
Yeah, no, that's very good, because I noticed that that NJE aircraft is being utilised now in Brisbane to Cairns. So just for clarification, that means a Rex Fly member, for example, would fly. That would be a ZL coded flight, is that right? Yep, it's just operated by NJE, and so they'll get all the benefits, especially the status benefits and things like that in time, which are coming early next year.
They'll earn points, and they'll go through the same booking system. And to all intents and purposes, once you're inside the aeroplane, you won't know the difference. But obviously the plane will be painted in the livery of NJE, and it's going to be an Embraer, or it's going to be a Dash 8-400 series.
Sure. And so at the moment, is it just the one that's doing that? And if you can say, is there a number that you've got?
We're going to start operating the Dash 8-400 series out of Perth to Carnarvon, and also to Esperance, I think, to add more seats to those routes, because they're busy routes. And so we'll start using the Dash 8-400 in West Australia on some of our regional network. We've got a network of about 4 or 5 destinations there, and we'll start to supplement the fleet with the Dash 8-400 that are part of the NJE fleet.
Yeah, excellent. So one final question. Rex, you've finished walking, you've finished running, you're at the sprinting stage. So let's fast forward 3 to 5 years, if not longer. What's the goal? What's the ambition for Rex? Is it to even start flying short haul international, longer haul international? Is that a realistic goal 5 to 7 years down the track, or is it or happy to just be that domestic carrier and then looking at partnerships outside of that?
Well, I think Rex to be flying international is a program for the next generation of people who are going to be running Rex. It's not likely to be on our agenda in the immediate future or even in the medium-term future. However, in the interim, establishing relationships with international airlines so that you can book with Rex to fly on another airline's international network and earn and burn points in the process of doing that. That's certainly very much on our agenda in the next couple of years. And our ambition is to have a full capital city network of jet services, but I also see us operating jets up the Queensland coastline as well. So from Brisbane to some of the major coastal cities like the Rockhamptons, Gladstones, and we already go to Townsville and Cairns, but to add those in as well for the jet service. And of course to maintain and grow our regional network. And to do that, we need to build up our pilot community, because that's been diminished by raids from mainly Qantas over the last 12 months who've taken a lot of our pilots out of our regional network. And so to build up our training and cadet program so that we can adequately man or put pilots into our regional fleet so that we can maintain and grow it.
Yeah, excellent. That's all I've got for you, John. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure, thank you.
Yeah, our readers are going to love what you've just said, I think. Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.